Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend, exploring music through Prince. And today we have part 2 of our ongoing review of the Sign of the Times Super Deluxe. Today we're going to actually start talking about some of the vault tracks, which I'm very excited about doing. It is obviously one of the main reasons why a lot of people ended up picking this up. Now, the vault tracks are split into 3 different discs. However, what I'm going to do is actually split them into 4 different videos, which is why this is going to be so many videos. And that's because there's like 45 songs, and it's like, what? That's a whole lot. And I'm obviously not going to try and lump them all into one video. So I'm going to try and tackle, around 10-ish, 10, 11-ish per video. And obviously, if you like stuff like this, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you always know when Prince's Friend releases a new video. Also, these videos would not be possible without the amazing support from great friends on our Patreon and our YouTube membership page. Links for both Patreon and the YouTube membership are in the description, or to join here, just go ahead and hit the join button below this video. Otherwise, let's go ahead and jump into these amazing vault tracks. So the first one was really a surprise. It was I Could Never Take the Place of Your Man, 1979 version. This is the version of the song that Prince recorded back when he was working on his second album, which is kind of ridiculous, really, if you think about it. The interesting thing about it is it makes sense why it didn't come out at the time, because obviously most of Prince's early music was all very much like, oh, the woman is treating me bad, Why You Want to Treat Me So Bad was on that second album, obviously, from 79. So it doesn't necessarily fit the theme of stuff that he was doing around that time. But this, to today, is actually one of my very favorite Prince songs. I love that it flips the idea of like, you're looking for me? Well, maybe not. I'm not really that interested. I love that idea in a song, and Prince really delivers it so well. But if you compare this 1979 version to the version that eventually came out in 86, I think that the two versions really show where Prince grew. He definitely already had his lyricism down, but I feel like he was able to deliver the lines more effectively, with more attitude and more feeling. But also, just adding in the guitar solo and the background singer, Bonnie Boyer, just like really like her like that. Just everything about like the version that we eventually got, I mean, is definitely better than this version. But I love listening to this one though. There's just something about it that's just so raw. Again, with me making my own music and I'm like just starting out and I'm kind of new at it and everything, like it feels very much like the type of song that a new artist would release, and it's good and it's awesome in its current form. But then it got even better as Prince knew more and grew more, and that's the part that I really love. So I love that what this song represents, and that's that it was a great place for Prince to start from.
Teacher, teacher, there's gotta be a better way. I'm sick and tired of making plans with...
So Teacher, Teacher, we did already get a version of Teacher, Teacher from the 1999 Deluxe. And, it was a good song. It's not necessarily my favorite song, but it's good. It reminds me of Father Figure, George Michael's song. But from the booklet, I learned that this version of Teacher, Teacher is what happened when Prince said, hey, I have this song that I worked on a little bit ago. Here it is, Wendy and Lisa. Figure out what, add some stuff to it and do your thing to it and make it great. And that's a great nod to the kind of like relationship that Prince had with the Revolution, where he would just be like, here's a song, do your thing. And I kind of dig that. And if you listen to both the Prince only version and this version, the two are like very, very different from each other. I mean, it's the same song, but they sound very different. Lisa and Wendy definitely have a different idea of like how to layer things in their own style, and sometimes that matched Prince very well, and other times not so much. It was very much their own style, which is good. That's what you want in a band. Like, neither ended up getting released, neither of the versions of the song, but it was really cool to hear Lisa and Wendy's take on this song.
I'll see you tonight.
So All My Dreams was one of the songs that I was most excited to see in this set because this is one of those that like I love the bootleg version that I have just like everybody else. But the song is like really beautiful. It feels like experimentational, right? Like it speeds up, it slows down, it goes up, it goes down. Prince is extending words and really filling the song with himself and parts of it, and in other parts he's speaking really fast. I mean, it definitely goes in a lot of different directions, which is why I really dig this song. This was also one of my faves when I went to go see the For You Symphonic Prince tribute, and I was like, wow, this one really works well on stage because, you know, a symphony, obviously this song lends itself to that sort of treatment much more than some of the others. But the strings on this song mixed with Prince's vocals and everything, just to die for. One of my favorites on this whole collection.
Can I stay with you? Can I play with you tonight?
So Can I Play With You featuring Miles Davis. The story of this song from the booklet, again, I'm getting a lot of the information from the booklet. Some of the stuff I did already know, but some of the stuff is new to me. But essentially, Prince and Miles Davis kind of ran into each other, and Prince was very excited about working with him. So he's like, oh, well, let's write this song, and sent it over to Miles. Miles ended up adding some stuff to it, and he was like, oh, well, I'm going to add this to my new album. And Prince was like, you know what? It doesn't really fit your album, so nah, I'm just going to take it back. So, and that's the fickleness that is Prince. You know, he was very excited about working with Miles, and then he's like, yeah, nah, it actually doesn't sound like that great of an idea. So, nah, we'll just take it back. And Eric Leeds is actually on here as well. So it's Eric Leeds and Miles Davis, and it's just one of those things. Like I really, really, I like it. It's kind of funky. And like it's got some attitude to it, which I dig. It's sad that it didn't end up on Miles's album.
It's a wonderful day, baby. Tonight, I'll be a wonderful night. Ain't nobody for what you own.
The next one is the original version of Wonderful Day. And this one, apparently, Prince took inspiration from the Venus de Milo statue. He wrote this, it's a wonderful day, it's gonna be a wonderful night. I actually really, really like the song. But it's interesting to know that he wrote this song and recorded it and did all that stuff during Under the Cherry Moon. And part of like this song, there's like a drum part of it that you can hear is in the background of some of Under the Cherry Moon. So this one, if they were to have done like a Parade Super Deluxe, this technically should have been on that, but they included it here, which is another thing. This is another reason why I'm thinking a Parade Super Deluxe might not happen. I also love this song to just, it's another example of just like when Prince gets an idea in his head for a song, he's just like, oh, well, let me sit down and I'm just going to do it. And now it's done. You know, it's like, that's just the beauty of Prince.
Baby, I just can't stand to see you happy. More than that, I hate to see you sad.
Then we get to the original version of Strange Relationship. And this is kind of an interesting version of this song. There's like a couple of lyric changes and stuff, like that's not really the biggest deal. But this one is the one where Prince and Lisa and Wendy worked on the song together. And Lisa and Wendy add like a sitar, and there's like a million different layers kind of all on top of each other. And like the song feels very different than the version that we got. And basically when he fired the Revolution, he took all of the stuff that Lisa and Wendy put on this song off of the song, and then we got the version that we got, and that's all Prince. And I honestly feel like the track was stronger for it, removing that stuff, because the whole of Sign of the Times has like this minimalist one-man army against the world kind of feel to it, and I think it really makes the album more appealing with that feel to it. So having like all these additional layers and stuff all kind of over, and more vocals and all that stuff, I think it removes a little bit of the synergy of how this song interlocks with some of the other songs. So Visions is an improv piece from Lisa. So Prince just set up a recording like in his apartment and said, hey, Lisa, like mess around on the piano and I'm gonna record it. And this is what they got. And Lisa's a great, she actually came out with her own solo album. I plan on reviewing that one day. But I've always enjoyed Lisa Coleman's piano playing. Like, she's really good. So I can't wait to listen to that. And this is an example of her kind of musicality. So you can hear like her feel on it. And I really like it's really pretty. It's kind of short, but it's pretty. So the next one is the Ballad of Dorothy Parker with horns. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It is exactly the same track, the Ballad of Dorothy Parker, but with Eric Leeds putting some horns over it. And what I think about it is, honestly, it's a great experiment. I think that it like if this was my band, I would be like, you know what? I'm glad that we did it and we put it in the mix this way, but let's go ahead and take it off now. Like, that would have been me, right? The sax kind of takes away from it. And I feel like the sax fills in the holes that I think needed to be there, like the interesting beat, like it takes your attention away from it. Some of the phraseology and whatnot that Prince is using, the sax is over it. And again, remember what I said about all of this new remastering makes any addition of the sax to any of the tracks just much, much louder. So there were points in the song where the sax was there and Prince was singing and you barely could hear Prince's voice. So I love Eric Leeds' sax, but nah, brah, you can take it off. So this is version 1 of Witness for the Prosecution, and I actually really like this song. I like most of the versions of this song. I've heard a few, and there's a few on here. But Prince pretty much did this whole song by himself and then brought it to the band and said, all right, hey, what we gonna do with this? And then they worked hard. They added horns and organs and all the craziness and the background singing and the shouts and the chanting and all that stuff. Like it's actually a really fun track, and I'm happy that it got remastered. I mean, the bass line alone it's like so down and dirty, and like I really, really like it. This one is actually one of the few tracks that I'm like, man, this one right here, this one is album worthy. This is amazing. Okay, so Power Fantastic, the live in studio. This is kind of interesting, and it was a wonderful listen. Just kind of giving you a glimpse into what it's like to record with Prince. And in this scenario, apparently Prince and all of the different members, they were recording it in a studio, but it's like his home studio. So all of them are all in different rooms, and he's like trying to coordinate everything. The most interesting thing about this is that besides just honestly a couple of little differences during the song itself, and obviously the beginning where like they're tuning and just trying to get in the vibe, it sounds very similar to the version that we got on the B-sides and hits. Like with almost no difference. So that's really an interesting thing about this, because from the notes, it says that this version was the first complete run through that they had done. And for them to, this will be the first complete run through, and there's like no mistakes and like very little of like Prince really even having to direct anybody. I think it really showed like how really kind of together everybody was. I think that that's really awesome. One thing that I also learned from Dwayne Tudall's notes in the booklet was that this song was actually at first an instrumental piece by Lisa Coleman that Prince took and kind of fleshed it out, added some lyrics, and then said, cool, this is what I want to do with it. So it actually started off as that kernel from Lisa, and man, like this song is amazing. And again, like I completely commend Lisa for all of her amazing piano work. And that says what? It says that this is an amazing instrumental piece. I was actually listening to this one with my middle kid, and I was like, hey, who could have done this? Who do you think this is? And who could have gotten away with this? And they were like, nobody but Prince. And I'm like, hell yeah. Because it goes fast and it jumps around and it's crazy and it makes no sense. And yet it is like 100% cohesive and feels like it's one piece. And I really, really like it.
Playing around with love and sex. Look at you, out of control. So
And the last track that we'll be talking about today is going to be the 12th track on the first disc, and it's Love and Sex. So, no, this isn't the same song that we got off of Purple Rain Deluxe, which I love that song too. This is a different song, just same title, you know. With unreleased songs, you might as well reuse titles because, you know, that song never came out. It's not going to confuse anybody because nobody's heard any of them. So I really like this song. It's really sweet. You know, it's about innocence and exploring what like love is. And like, I really like it. I like it when Prince does songs like this. I think my only gripe with this one is that this is one of there's only really a handful of them, but this was one of the tracks that you could tell that the master wasn't as good and as well preserved. So the quality of it isn't as great. And we'll talk more about that when we get, you know, deeper in because there's a few others. But really, on the whole, most of the tracks are good. All right, guys. So that is the first 12 vault tracks. Let me know what you guys think. In the next video, we'll be finishing off the first disc and jumping into the second disc. So far, oh my gosh, these songs are amazing. Even just looking at these, like they're giving us a little bit of the really early Prince. They're giving us alternate versions of Prince. They're giving us Prince with the Revolution. And overall, I'm just enjoying the hell out of these songs. So come back for the next one. We're going to go over, 11 or 12 more songs. So we'll do more. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. Let's discuss these tracks in the comments. I want to continue that discussion there. And don't forget to check the description for links to either becoming a patron or a YouTube member to support the channel. And with all of that said, may you live to see the dawn. I love you all. See you in the next video.